All right, my friends, for math today in your homework, you're going to go into your workbook and take out the packet that has this as the first page. In your Chapter 11 workbook, this packet that says three-dimensional shapes 11.1, and there's some more aliens sitting there, is going to be shoved right inside of that book. So you're going to turn the page to the back. And we're going to look at this back sheet. Our first job is we're going to write how many for each. So here they show us a picture of a cube. What I would like you to do is push pause on the video and write down how many faces, how many edges, and how many vertices there are on a cube. Remember, a face is the flat part. The edge is this line. The vertex is like the corner. It's that sharp point. So I want you to write down how many. Push pause, and when you're done, push play to come back. All right, my friends, let's take a look at our rectangular prism now. I want you to write down how many faces there are, how many edges there are, and how many vertices there are. Remember, you can always go back on your worksheet we worked on earlier, or count right here. Push pause and finish filling this in. All right, my friends, let's take a look at our cube. Our faces are the flat part. So let's take a look at my cube. We have a top, and there's always one directly opposite it. So there's a bottom. So a top and a bottom, that's 2. Then I have another 2. That would make 4. And then there's 2 more I'm not touching right now, so that would make 6. So you should have 6 faces written down. If you do not, please fix that now. Let's take a look at our edges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my marker to trace them to count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 edges. Now let's look at the vertices. I'm going to use a different color, and I'm just going to put a dot on each of the vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there were 8 vertices. If you got all those correct, excellent. Then keep watching for the answers to our rectangular prism. If you did not get these correct, I want you to push pause and look at what you did for your rectangular prism and see if you can make corrections based on what we just did up here with our cube. Feel free to get crayons to help you out, remember. When you're ready, come back and we'll go over it together. All right, my friends, let's take a look at our rectangular prism. Let's take a look at it with this blue one. We have a top and the one directly below it. So there's 2. Now we've got a side and a side, so that's 4. And then what are we missing? Yep, those outer sides. So 6. So just like a cube, our rectangular prism has 6 faces. those flat parts on our prism. Now we need to look at our edges. Well, we're going to do the same thing as we did up above. Let's trace them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, just like our cube, our rectangular prism has 12 edges also. I wonder how many vertices it will have. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, that's where our edges meet. 5, 6, 7, 8. And once again, it's 8. So what do you notice is alike between our cube and our rectangular prism? Yes, they have the same number of faces, edges, and vertices. How are they different? Let's take a look below. Color the set of shapes that make up a 3D shape. So what you're going to need to do is get a crayon out, my friends, or a marker, or colored pencil, either one, and then come back to me and we'll take a look. All right, here we see a rectangular prism. Wow, let's look at each of the faces. Okay, we see a long rectangle. Okay. On the back, we also see a long rectangle. How about up top? Another long rectangle. Down below, another long rectangle. What about on the sides? Yeah, we see squares on the sides. So how many squares are there? 2. How many faces are rectangles? 4. So which of these pictures shows 4 rectangles and 2 squares? This first picture does. What they're trying to show us is if I fold this up, it will bend into this shape, and these flaps will come down, kind of like you're creating your own box there. This would be these 2 end pieces. This would show us that they're all squares. What shape do we know that has all squares as the faces? If you said a cube, you were correct. So this showed us our rectangular prism. We looked at the faces to try to decide how we could take it apart. Which picture do you think shows us a cone? Do we have rectangles and 2 squares that make up a cone? Or do we have a rounded, curved piece and a circle? Look at your cone. If you circled this picture, you were correct. If I took this cone and it had something going around it, I could cut, and I'd unfold it, and the bottom would look just like this. Boop. Okay, and then the face is a circle. What I'd like you to do, friends, is push pause, and can you color in or circle how I would take apart this pyramid? How would I take apart this cube? Don't worry so much about where they drew the different pieces as what the shapes of the faces are. When you're done, come back to me and we'll go over it together. All right, friends, let's take a look at a pyramid. Here we have a pyramid. Ooh. What do we notice? The faces are triangles. Let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. And what's the other face? A square. So let's see if we can match that. Well, I do not see any circles over here, do you? How about with this guy? Any circles involved? Oh no. Well, that makes this pretty easy, but let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. Check. And a square. Check. This has all the pieces that I would need to make this 3D shape. Now, what are the faces of a cube made up of? If you said a square and 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 a square, you are correct. So does this have squares? Well, it has 2, but then it has rectangles. That does not make a cube. What does that make? A rectangular prism. Good job. Over here, though, we do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces as squares. So we know that is, in fact, what makes up a cube. Friends, great job. You can now take a picture of this and submit it on Portfolio to show me that you got through this with me and you followed all of my directions carefully. Great work on your attributes of 3D shapes today.